Well, I knew I was in trouble this week when I turned to the biblical scholar in my life, Jill, and I said, "What do you make of that parable of the bridesmaids?" And she went, "I don't really know." "I don't know," she said, and I went, "Well, then I don't have any idea what I might say that might be inspiring to you all." I want to begin, though, by telling you that some parables are sturdy. Some parables are like a wheelbarrow, right? That you could put all kinds of stuff in, like wood and dirt and rocks, and it gets standing up, but it can take all of that weight that you put into it. And some parables are like that, like the parable of the seed and the sower who goes out, and that one can take a lot of freight. The mustard seed is also a parable that you can just draw a lot of analogies, a lot of life from. Some parables are more thin, more delicate, like a paper sack, and that's what today's parable is, in my mind. Keep that in mind. What I'm saying is, don't try to put too much on this parable, okay? So, here we are again, in November, middle of November, heading into a new season of the church year. In a couple of weeks, a season called Correct. Here we are, every year we come back to this church cycle. So it's been quite a year since we were here last, don't you think? Hasn't it been? What's gone on this year? We have a new president. Now, for some of you, that was an awesome hip hip hooray moment. For some, not so much. I get it. But we do have a new president. That has happened. It's been something of a real shock to our system, no matter which side you're on. Right? What else has happened? Solar eclipse. That was a tremendous moment, wasn't it? Did you all get to see that? Well, I guess through the glasses. It was awesome. Really an incredible moment. New iPhone came out. Also a big moment. Yes, 2 versions this time. 8 and X. Oh, and it looks like we're very close to having a new Husker coach. Right? There's a sad face, some smiley faces. Yeah. What did not happen this year? Jesus did not return. Right? To my knowledge. Right? Otherwise, some of you, Jill, would not be here. Yes. Jesus did not return this year. So, is that even on our minds as we go through our day-to-day lives? Do we ever really think about the idea that Jesus will return? Is it like once in a while, when we get to church, especially this time of year, we start to talk about it, but as you go through your day-to-day life, is it anything that you would pay attention to? Now, we say it in church every week in the Eucharistic prayer, don't we? Christ has died. Christ is risen. Christ will come again every week. But do we believe it? We sing about it. We sing about this particular bridesmaids. Give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning. Join me. Give me oil in my lamp, let I pray. Give me oil in my lamp, keep it burning. Burning till the judgment. Yeah, right on. You got the last word. Now we sing the song, we say it in the prayer. Do we believe it? Yes. Do we really? Do we expect it? No. Really? So, well, listen. All I can tell you, it's been a long time, right? Been a long time since people started talking about it. In Paul's day, it had been like 10 or 15 years. And they were already starting to lose the idea. That's why he writes about it so much in Thessalonians in his letters. They'd already sort of forgotten the zeal that Jesus Christ is coming back. Now I have to tell you, it's a very dangerous thing to talk about. Because this is how people go up to a mountain, right? This is how people give everything away and move away and ultimately take suicide pills. This is how all that happens. But do we forget about it? Do we care about it? Do we expect it? It's been a while. Our senses are dulled to the idea that Jesus is returning. But the return, which the New Testament calls the parousia, or the eschaton, the end of days, it is the message, the singular message of this parable. Okay? The singular message. Now, this parable about the bridesmaids, do you love it? Do you hate it? Have you heard it before? All of those? Yes. It doesn't make anybody's list of favorite parables, I don't think. If I asked you, this would not show up. My problems with this parable. 3. All right, so the there's 10 bridesmaids, right? And they're waiting for the bridegroom. What are they waiting for the bridegroom for? I go to a lot of weddings. I've never seen the bridesmaids just hang around waiting for the bridegroom. Right? What are they waiting for? Well, in those days, what happened was the bridegroom would go away for a fair amount of time and prepare the household for the bride to come to. And then he would come back and get the bride, and they would go off to their life together. So the bridegrooms are waiting with the bride for the bridegroom to come back. The bridesmaids, I meant to say. Yeah. So they're waiting with the bride for the bridegroom to come back. That's what they're waiting for. And he's been delayed. For whatever reason. Maybe the house wasn't quite ready. It took a while. That's what's going on. So that's what they're waiting for. My second problem with this text is, what kind of friends are they? 5 of them have enough oil. 5 of them do not. The 5 who do not say to the 5 who do, give us some of your oil. And what do they say? No way. They're supposed to be friends, I think, right? They say, no way. You had a chance to get some oil. You didn't bring your oil. Too bad. Stinks to be you. Sorry. Go get your own. Of course, that's part of the parable. They go off to get their own, and the bridegroom comes back. So, what kind of friends are they? What are they waiting for? Third, what kind of bridegroom / God is this? Like, the bridegroom is supposed to stand for Jesus, right? So, what kind of bridegroom / God is this? Who comes back and says, sorry, didn't have your oil. You weren't waiting. Too bad. Door's locked. You're out. Does that fit? Does that comport with your idea of who Jesus is, who God is? That's what makes this parable so difficult, because we try to freight it with all of this theology that it can't stand because it's delicate. I'll have to say this about this parable. I'll give it this much. It worked for me this week because it's supposed to be a puzzler, you know. Parables are supposed to make you think and make you dig in and go, what does that mean? This one did this to me this week. I'm telling you, it really did. I struggled all week to figure out what I could possibly say to you about this parable that might have meaning for your lives, for my life. This parable is about one thing, and one thing only. It is about the delay of the return of Jesus Christ. He said he was coming back. By Paul's time of writing in the 50s, he hadn't come back yet. By Matthew's time of writing in the 80s, he had not yet come back. And so Matthew is trying to explain, in the words of Jesus, what it's going to be like. And basically they say, don't worry about the delay, but stay prepared for the second coming. That's what he's saying. Got to be prepared. Well, I thought, okay, let me take it seriously then. Let me say to myself, what would it be like if I really expected Jesus Christ to return? You're going to get 3 weeks in a row now of this eschaton talk, of this parousia talk in Matthew. For 3 weeks, this one, then next week, then next week. You're going to get 3 parables, all about the second coming. So we say, Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ will come again. But if that is true, then when and what if? When and what if? I want Christ to come back, but I want him to come back around about 92. Yeah? All right? I'm in on my deathbed, you know. It's all over for me, and I'm like, okay, come on now, you know. Most of us are like that. When and what if? So here's the question. If it were this weekend, what would I do to get my life in order? If it were going to happen this weekend, what would I do? If it were this weekend, what would you want more of? Faith? Would you do more good works? Quick, get out and do some good stuff. So, he's coming back. I want to have a record, I want to have it down on record. Would you go pick up some prayer beads? Would you start saying the rosary? Would you give away your money? Would you get some New clothes? What would you do? A travel cup for your coffee? I don't know. For me, I thought about it long and hard. And honestly, here's what I came up with. If I absolutely thought it was going to be this weekend, here's what I would do. 3 things. I would spend some extra time in community, in worship, receiving communion, and in prayer, because that's where I find my faith lived out most fully. That's where I find my comfort. That is the oil I get, right? I would spend more time with you. I would apologize to anybody that I've hurt in my life. And so just covering my bases, if I've ever hurt you, just in case it's this weekend, I'm sorry. I would spend extra time in community, worship, communion, and prayer. I would apologize to anybody that I have hurt, and I would tell the people I love that I love them. So just in case, I love you. Yeah. So come to think of it, it wouldn't hurt to do those things a little more, even if Jesus gets delayed a little longer. It wouldn't hurt to do more, gathering in community, apologizing to those we have hurt, and telling the people we love that we love them. Because you never know, it could be this weekend. But even if it's not, I think the world is going to be a better place. My world would be a better place if I would do more of those things.